Hi there, I'm Claire and this is Ali. We're from Sydney Advanced Physiotherapy and we're going to talk to you about the importance of breathing. So we often give breathing exercises as part of a yoga routine or a Pilates routine, and it's sometimes difficult for people to understand just how important breathing is, and so they'll sort of skip over the breathing exercises and do the other ones. So we want to explain to you why it's really important that you don't do this, that you do your breathing exercises.
So I often give exercises for breathing for all sorts of pain throughout the body. So when people are not breathing well, sometimes there are loads of indications like sore thumbs, like headaches, sore teeth. Sometimes a couple of teeth might be sore. That can be from tight muscles in your jaw. Sore tummy, back, you name it, knee pain, medial knee pain, even heel pain, plantar fasciitis can actually be that you're not breathing properly and you're turning on your stress response. And so if your body's constantly trying to turn off your stress response, or your stress response is constantly on, then it turns on a whole bunch of muscles and it compresses nerves, it gives referral pain, so it can give you a lot of pain. And so learning to breathe properly can actually turn off that pain.
So Ali mentioned the stress response, and this is what happens when your body and brain perceive a threat and put your body into a state of fight or flight. So you might have heard about this as the way that your body prepares itself to deal with a threat. So back when we lived on the savannah and we saw the lion coming at us, we could either get ready to fight it or we could get ready to run away. And so our muscles would tense, respiratory rate would increase, we get lots of blood flowing to different muscle groups to help us fight or flee. And so this is good in some ways but bad in others, because if it's turned on all the time, then you can end up with a lot of tension in particular muscle groups, and that can cause problems for your posture and your body function. So Ali, what are some of the muscle groups that are typically switched on by that fight and flight response?
So a lot of muscles can be turned on. Your neck muscles, your jaw muscles, your intercostal muscles between each rib, your tummy muscles and your inside thigh muscles, and they usually pull you into a little bit of a flex position, which is obviously not good for our day-to-day life because we already sit in that posture too often.
Yeah. And I often see overactive pelvic floor patients, and that is part of the fight and flight response often. So it's not as simple as you feel stressed or anxious and therefore your muscles are tight. It can be something like you've had a sprain to your ankle in years gone by, or you've had a traumatic delivery or something else that has caused your body to go into this trauma response, and then we need to wind that back so we can get things functioning well. An example of a very common injury is a whiplash injury. So that's where your body experiences a sudden acceleration and deceleration, and you get that sudden forward and backwards movement through the neck. So when that happens, it's not just the muscles and joints that are affected, but also the nerves and the dura that covers the spinal cord. So if the nerves and the dura are in a constant state of wind up, then that's like being in a chronic state of stress for your body, and that can cause inflammation throughout your system, which can lead to pain and other problems. So Ali is, as well as a physio, a podiatrist, and so she treats a lot of pain and dysfunction in the lower limb and the foot. So Ali, can you tell us how you go about unwinding that state of wind up in the nerves?
We thought we were going to get to this, but breathing. Breathing is something we use day to day, or I use day to day, to try to decrease the stress response, which Claire just taught you more about. And one of the most common things that I treat is heel pain. And one of the main causes of heel pain is actually one of the muscles that goes down into heel called, well, it doesn't really matter what it's called, but it turns off with breathing. And so one of the main treatments for heel pain that I have to give out every day is breathing.
And Ali, can you tell us how breathing helps to decrease the stress response? Why does it work?
Okay, so by doing the breathing, when your diaphragm descends, it sends a little signal to your brain to say, I got this, I'm good. And it turns off your stress response, and you can physically feel it by touching the muscles that are activated by the stress response. And so if you're breathing poorly and the muscles are all activated, by doing this breathing, it turns off the chemicals. There's a chemical response that happens in your brain and releases chemicals through your body that relaxes the muscles that are activated to try and protect you from this stressful event, whatever that may be.
So I'm a women's health physiotherapist, which means that I predominantly treat women and I predominantly treat pelvic floor. And so breathing is really, really important part of what I do as well. So Ali mentioned that when you breathe in, your diaphragm descends within your tummy, and your pelvic floor should also go down a little bit as well. So if your diaphragm isn't moving properly, then this can stop that normal movement of the pelvic floor up and down, and that can lead to problems like prolapse and stress incontinence. As well as the diaphragm, you use other muscles to breathe and to move the rib cage. And there's a group of little tiny muscles between your ribs called intercostals. And if these muscles are too tight, the effect is to kind of squash your rib cage like a slinky being squashed down. And this can make it really hard to, for example, rotate properly through your thorax, like with a golf swing or with a tennis swing. And so you can get really stiff and sore through your lower back, through your shoulders, through your neck. And so learning to breathe with your diaphragm and the correct muscle groups is a really important part of what we do. If you remain unconvinced about the importance of breathing, try to imagine what it would feel like to have a tight corset around your lower rib cage and to be breathing just into your neck and your upper chest all day, every day. You take about 20,000 breaths a day. So if these little muscles up here are working 20,000 times a day, all day, every day, they're going to get sore. They're going to place strain on the joints that they attach to. So Ali, if breathing is so important, is that the only thing that you do to treat nerve pain?
No, of course not. So breathing is part of the treatment that we use sometimes depending on what your contributing factors are. So your contributing factors will be different to someone else's contributing factors. So if it's important for your treatment, we use it. Otherwise, we have so many other techniques that we use depending on what you need.
As a final note, breathing is obviously the way you get oxygen to your body, and it's also the way that you blow off carbon dioxide. So if you're not breathing well, you'll get a buildup of carbon dioxide in your system. This acidifies your blood and creates inflammation throughout your system. The other thing this does is it winds up your pain response. It makes your pain receptors more sensitive. And so in my world of pelvic floor management and treatment, for people who have pain with intercourse or other types of pelvic pain, this is highly relevant. Hopefully after watching this video, you understand a bit more about the relevance of breathing, and if you're given breathing as an exercise by a yoga instructor or by your physio, that you'll take part in that exercise and see the benefits.